Bienvenidos a la cuarta clase de este curso de inglés intermedio completamente gratis. I upload a new video every Monday and Thursday, so make sure you subscribe to my channel to receive notifications. And don't forget you can join the Facebook group to download all of my resources for free. Today we are going to study the past perfect, affirmative and negative. We are also going to compare the past perfect with the simple past. Then we're going to look at adverbs with the past perfect. And finally, we're going to combine all of the past tenses, including the past continuous, which we learned in the last class. Let's begin. So first we're going to look at the past perfect in its affirmative and negative forms. What do I mean by the past perfect? Okay, so let's have a look. Which of these two actions happened first? So look at this sentence here. When I got home yesterday, my mum had made dinner. So both things happened in the past, but which one happened first? Got home or mum made dinner? What do you think? Mom made dinner is the first thing that happened, okay? I'll explain in a moment. Let's continue. When I started learning English, I had been to the USA 3 times. What happened first? Started learning English or had been to the USA? Been to the USA. The lesson had started when I arrived. What happened first? The lesson started or I arrived? The lesson started. And finally, I tried to save the cat with CPR, but it had already died. What happened first? I tried to save the cat or the cat died? The cat died. What do these 4 more past actions have in common in terms of the structure in the sentence? So, mom made dinner, been to the USA, lesson started, and cat died. Well, they have in common this had, right? Had and a past participle. The lesson had started when I arrived. Había empezado cuando yo llegué. This is how we say the past perfect. Había empezado, right? The lesson had started when I arrived. This is past simple. We use this to distinguish between different past things. Past perfect basically is more past. It happened before. So the lesson started before I arrived. Okay, so I can say that. I can say the lesson started before I arrived, or the lesson had started when I arrived. Ya había empezado, and already is ya, all right? Another example in Spanish, te busqué, pero ya te había sido. That's what we're talking about, okay? So, examples in English. You had already fallen asleep when I got home last night. So we have 2 actions here, fall asleep and get home. Which one happened first? Well, this one happened first, okay? Ya te habías dormido. The teacher gave us a surprise test and I hadn't studied, right? Gave us a test to surprise and I hadn't studied. No había estudiado, right? So I didn't do that first. I was making a sandwich because my wife had eaten the leftover pizza. So it's not exclusively with past simple. It could be past continuous like this, right? I was making a sandwich because my wife had eaten the leftover pizza. Ya lo había comido. What were you doing last night when I called? I was searching for my wallet. I thought I had lost it, right? Again, I thought I lost it. This verb is one of the verbs that's very commonly associated with past perfect. Thought, believed, understood. These are verbs in past simple. Thought, believed, understood, realized, remembered, and forgot, okay? I forgot that I había hecho algo. No, I forgot that I had done something. I remembered that I had done something else. I realized that I had forgotten. Okay, so me di cuenta, entendí, creí, pensé, recordé, olvidé que había hecho o había comprado, había comido algo. Okay? I forgot that I had left my glasses in the car, for example, or she didn't think that she had seen the movie before. Let's have a look at some exercises. Go to point number 1 in the description to open the activities. So this is what the activity page looks like. If you scroll down, we're only using the past perfect simple here, okay? So The storm destroyed the sandcastle that we had built. Okay? La tormenta destruyó el castillo de arena que habíamos construido, that we had built. He not be to Cape Town before 1997. Okay, not be is going to be had with a not, hadn't, and then the past participle is been. She went out to play. She do already her homework. Okay, so already is going to go between the two parts. She had already done her homework. Finish the activity and I'll see you in a moment. I hope that went well. Let's continue. So here we can see that we've looked at past perfect affirmative. It's pretty simple. Had plus a past participle. We are going to continue to look at past perfect now, though, when we compare past perfect and simple past. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the contraction apostrophe D. So here we have a sentence where we have two verbs. One of them is past simple and one of them is past perfect. So look at the context and make a decision. Is it past simple or past perfect? I buy some wine yesterday on my way home from work. But my wife buy some wine already. Okay, already, I know that's going to be associated with past perfect, right? So that's probably had bought. So this is going to be bought. I bought some wine yesterday on my way home from work, but my wife had bought some wine already. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few minutes. Stop the video to do the activity. Okay, here are the answers. 3, 2, 1. My sister had taken the car before I got home. John realized, uno de esos verbos que mencioné, realized that he had forgotten his homework. Stuart had killed 3 students, but he didn't tell the police. And I told my friend that I had lost my car keys, which is why I was late. So here you can distinguish between two past things. One is more past than the other. Here are some more examples from the British Council's page. He couldn't make a sandwich because he had forgotten to buy bread. Right? The hotel was full, so I was glad, which means happy, I was glad that we had booked in advance. My new job wasn't exactly what I had expected. So the contraction apostrophe D is very common for had, okay? And the pronunciation difference between she and she'd is very, very small, okay? But we know what you mean because the next word is a past participle. I know that you're talking in the past perfect, normally because there's another verb associated with it, but also because it's followed by a past participle, right? I'd expected. I know that that's past. I had expected. So even though the pronunciation of the D sound is very minimal, I understand what you mean because of the past participle. For example, she'd gone. I know, even if I don't hear the D, I know that you mean había ido ella because of the gone. It's also useful for when you use had. So, había tenido, in inglés sería had. No? Had. If you look at it here, había tenido, had. And that's kind of strange sounding. I was full, estaba lleno, porque había tenido steak and chips, because I had steak and chips. That's fine, grammatically, but it sounds a lot better if you say, I was full because I had had steak and chips. Just to vary the sound a bit, okay? So it's I'd, you'd, he'd, she'd, it'd, we'd, you'd, they'd. It's a very, very small sound, okay? It'd, in the Macmillan Dictionary, it says, this is not usually used in formal writing. So when you're writing, it's just, you should say it had, okay? It had, and then a past participle. Don't use a contraction, because it's not very common. So if we move on to adverbs with past perfect, adverbs can change the meaning of past perfect. So we're talking about había ido, había estado, past perfect, right? Already, we already know, we've seen this. She had already gone. This doesn't change the meaning. It's exactly the same. Ya había ido, it doesn't change the meaning. Ya se había ido, right? Still, I still hadn't finished and it was 10 p.m. if we're telling a story. Todavía, still. This normally goes with not, right? Todavía no. So for example, todavía no había terminado y ya eran las 10. If we're talking about a story, I still hadn't finished and it was 10 o'clock. Just. She had just arrived in the country. Look at the position between the two parts, like already. She had just arrived in the country when we met. Just, basically it shortens the time between the two actions. So remember, we use past perfect to distinguish between two past actions, that one is more past than the other. Well, this basically shortens the time between the two actions, right? So, translation, something like apenas. Apenas había llegado al país cuando nos conocimos. So, very, very short distance between the two things. Ever basically means in your life, okay? In your whole life until that point. It was the best food I had ever tasted. I had ever tasted until that point, okay? Era la mejor comida que jamás había probado en ese momento. Puede ser que después probaste algo todavía mejor. Pero hablando de ese momento, era lo mejor que habías probado. Never, I had never been. Your first experience of something. So we're talking about your first experience now. Nunca había ido, right? I had never been. So all of these are small alterations, okay? When we say adverbs can change the meaning of past perfect, only a little. Depends on the context, but not very much. Except before. Before does change the order, okay? So you have to be careful. It's the same in Spanish, but just be careful. You arrived before I had showered. Ahora, pues sí, llegaste antes de haberme bañado. En este caso es un subjuntivo en español, entonces no se ve exactamente igual como había bañado. Pero bueno, aquí tienes, you arrived before I had showered. Normalmente pensaríamos que had showered, por ser de past perfect, era antes, ¿no? Pero como le pusiste un before, ya cambiaste el orden. Llegaste antes de haberme bañado. So, before I had showered. So look at the difference with when you arrived, I had showered. When you arrived, I had showered. Cuando llegaste, ya me había bañado. You look at the difference between the two. And the only change really is the word before, right? If you use the word before, then you're changing the order. It's exactly the same in Spanish, just be careful with the use of before. Antes de que me había, or antes de haberme bañado, right? Let's have a look at some exercises. Go to point number 2 in the description to do the activities. So this is the British Council page. If you scroll down, there are 2 tests, and I want you to look at... There's another example here of the explanation of the grammar. Go down, down, down to Grammar Test 2. And then look at the question. Select the correct answer. It says, choose the correct option to complete the sentences. By the time I could talk to her, she to quit her job. By the time I could talk to her, al momento en que, o cuando por fin pude hablar con ella, ella decidió o había decidido. I think it's I could, so that's already past, so maybe this should be decided. She'd decided. Ya había decidido. I looked at the photo and suddenly realized, con ese, porque esto es inglés británico, I looked at the photo and suddenly realized that the man somewhere before, okay. Vi la foto y me di cuenta que yo, ese hombre, en algún lado antes, había visto, right? I had seen. Complete the activity and I will see you in a moment. I hope that went well. Let's continue. So now I want us to look at combining all of the past tenses. In pre-intermediate, we saw past simple. In this intermediate level, we have seen past continuous, and now we're seeing past perfect. So we've also seen used to and would. So why don't we try and combine everything? I want you to find examples, okay? So here's text. And I want you to find all of the simple past verbs, all of the past continuous verbs, and all of the past perfect. It should be pretty easy for you to identify. Simple past finish with ed, ied, and the irregular verbs like went and bought. Past continuous was or were ing, and past perfect is had and a past participle. Okay? So, go through the text and find these examples. Stop the video because I'm going to reveal the answers now, okay? 3, 2, 1. Here we go. One day, I was walking in the park because I had decided that I needed more exercise, okay? Un día estaba caminando o caminaba en el parque porque había decidido que necesitaba hacer más ejercicio. Mientras caminaba, while I was walking, I saw a chupacabras in the bushes, en los arbustos. I had never seen one before. That should have seen green as well. I had never seen one before. Nunca había visto uno antes. And I had always thought, yo siempre había pensado, that they were fictitious animals, que eran animales ficticios, los animales ficticios. Anyway, como quiera, it was sitting there in the bushes. Estaba sentado ahí, en los arbustos, relajándose. I decided to get closer and have a look. Decidí acercarme para ver. It didn't see me. No me vio. And I was walking really slowly. Y estaba caminando muy lentamente. I had gotten really close. Había llegado muy cerca. Maybe 5 meters away. Quizás a 5 metros. When it saw me, cuando me vio. It started to growl. Grr. Empezó a gruñir at me and showed me its teeth. Grr. Me mostró sus dientes. That's when I ran away. Eso fue cuando corrí. Run away is a phrasal verb. We see this in lesson 6, I think. That's when I ran away. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 simple past. 1, 2, 3, 4 past continuous. And 1, 2, 3, 4 past perfect. So you see they're very common and they're very useful. Son muy útiles. Todos los tiempos en pasado. In conversation and when you're telling stories. Si están estudiando con alguien más, aquí tengo una actividad para hacer en pareja. So if you're studying with someone else, try this activity in a pair, okay? Here's some questions you can ask. When was the last time you were scared? What had happened? ¿Qué había pasado? When was the last time you felt happy? What had happened? When was the last time you felt relaxed? What had happened? Okay, so basically you form a sentence, a question, with this formula. And you can ask and answer questions. So, for example, when was the last time you felt really happy? ¿Qué había pasado? What had happened? The last time I felt really happy was when I had received an excellent Christmas present from my mother. Okay? La última vez que sentí muy feliz fue cuando había recibido un regalo excelente en Navidad de parte de mi mamá. Right? So this is a good conversation activity you can do if you're studying with a partner. Or if you want to, you can just practice writing the questions and writing the answers and publish them on the Facebook group or in the comments on this video. Okay, so we studied everything. Past perfect, affirmative, negative, past perfect or simple past, and we looked a little bit at the contraction with the D. Adverbs with past perfect like still and already and ever. And we looked at combining all of the past tenses and how they are all important. Don't forget, if you want to, you can take the test which is in the description, which will help check your understanding of today's class and topics. Subscribe to my channel to make sure you receive notifications when I upload videos every Monday and Thursday. And don't forget to join the Facebook group if you want to download my presentations and resources. Thank you for studying English with me, and I will see you next class.